All right, let's talk a little bit about personal selling and sales management, and let's start with a little introduction and a focus on personal selling. Of course, there's a famous quote by Robert Louis Stevenson: everybody lives by selling something, or my favorite, everyone makes a living by selling something. Whether it's goods, services, your ideas, your skills, or whatever, everyone makes a living by selling something. Today, the sales professional's focus is on customer relationships, that is, commit to creating value for clients, to seek to serve clients as a trusted consultant, and build long-term relationships so that sales continue for a long period of time. Two approaches to personal selling. One is a sales-oriented approach where the goal is to just go out and sell as much as possible. The other is a more customer-oriented approach where you try to identify customers' problems, wants, and needs, and then design solutions to meet those wants and needs. So it's more of a customer orientation rather than a sales orientation. Kinds of personal selling jobs that are out there. One type of personal selling option is order takers. There are outside order takers. These are people who go around and take orders from customers, typically traditional routes. There's less of this going on today than there used to be, but there are outside order takers. Most of us see this as more inside order takers, where there are people who simply sit at phones and take orders, or respond to inbound telemarketing requests. And of course, now much of this is automated online, so that the actual jobs are gone, but there are order takers that are sort of online order takers. There's order getters. There's outside order getters. These are sales reps who go out and meet with clients in their offices or on job sites, versus inside order getters who are inside office people, typically on the phones or sending emails or text messages to potential customers to generate orders. And of course, this is part of the concept of outbound telemarketing. So here's an example from your book comparing order takers and order getters. Now I'll talk about the stages and objectives of the personal selling process. Starts with prospecting, then on to the pre-approach and approach, the presentation, the close, and the follow-up. There are many different approaches to this, but the idea is to identify prospects, meet with them, build rapport, identify what their wants and needs are, and then design a product pitch that is designed to meet their wants and needs and satisfy and in the most efficient and effective way, and then close that sale and then follow up with sales. All right, prospecting. The idea in prospecting is to identify qualified prospects. There are lots of people who are potential customers. Many people who walk onto a car lot, as an example, are looking at cars. But it's very obvious that some of those people are just kicking tires and others are really potential prospects. The idea behind prospecting is to identify prospects as leads, which is someone who might be interested in your product, to a prospect who appears to be someone who is in the market for buying, versus a qualified prospect who is definitely out there trying to buy. Next is the approach stage. This is important for you to understand, especially if you're doing this globally. Understand customs and gestures, even if it's customs and issues in a particular field. This is the idea behind gaining the prospect's attention, but also building rapport. In many cases, this needs to be done by understanding a little bit about who your customers are and what sorts of things they might be interested in. Then there's the presentation stage, where the idea is to identify what their wants and needs are, and then build a product presentation and a product pitch that best meets their needs. Typically what happens then is that the buyer has a number of questions, and typically some of those are objections, like I already have a great supplier, I can get a better price than this, etc., etc. The way that we always pitch about handling objections is acknowledge the objections, but then try to convert that person to your point of view. Other ways of handling these, some of these don't work as well as others. Most of the time when people have objections, it's important to listen very carefully, think through what their objections are, and think about how your product really overcomes those objections. The close is actually asking for the order. The idea behind that would be to get people to actually make the commitment. As you know, if you've been out looking at products to purchase, whether it be a laptop computer or a new automobile or a house, it's that point where you really have to do a good job of convincing the customer that making the purchase right now is the best thing that they can do. And then, of course, there's the issue of follow-up. I recently purchased an automobile from Henderson Chevrolet. The follow-up was not very well done, and as a result, I'm a relatively dissatisfied customer, not because of the product, but because of the follow-up. And of course, then I doubt that I will be buying another vehicle from them, or I would be interested in referring other people to them. What I have here is a number of selling frameworks. This isn't in your book, but people who are in the sales business have seen lots of different sales frameworks, and many companies use one of these sorts of selling frameworks for their individual salespeople. Spin selling focuses on the situation, the problem, the implications, and the need payoff. The NEAT selling system, looking for core needs. Think about the economic impact. Identify the access to authority and focus on the time. Snap selling is the idea of keep it simple, be invaluable, align yourself with the company's wants and needs, and raise priorities. The challenger sale is a sales system where the argument is that both buyers and sellers fit into personas, and the idea is to match your persona with the persona of the particular buyer. And then, of course, we have something called the Sandler system, which has been around for a long time, which is the idea behind sort of flipping the script. And then finally, I have one here called the concept selling system, which is something that's often used by many different companies. Just an idea that there are all kinds of sort of selling frameworks out there. My recommendation is that students, if they get a chance, take a course in personal selling. It will benefit you in virtually every aspect of your life.